This story is a Chinese folk tale. It's written by Morgan Schatz Blackrose. I will not disclose you the name of the story right now. It's a surprise and it will come in the end. Long, long ago in China, the emperor decided to set a test to find the right leader to rule in his place after he died. He thought and finally came up with a plan. All the boys of a certain age were asked to come to his palace and assemble in the courtyard. They were each given a pot with a seed in it. On the same day, in exactly 1 year's time, they were to return and present their plant to the emperor. All the boys were very excited and took their plants home. None were more excited than Fang. He placed his pot in his sunshine and watered it every early morning. Days passed, but there was no sign of a little green shoot. A week passed, and still it had not sprouted. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks passed, and although Fang continued to tend his pot, nothing happened. But he did not give up. He shifted the pot from the sun to the shade and back again. He talked to it and watered it every day. After 3 months, he visited some of the boys from his village and asked how their plants were faring. Each boy showed Fang a healthy seedling. Some had shrubs, others had fruit trees, and a few proudly displayed tiny nut trees. All appeared to be flourishing. Fang could not think what he was doing wrong. Day after day he tended the pot, but the seed buried in the soil refused to germinate. Patiently he waited, but no fresh green shoot pushed its way up to the sunlight. When finally a year passed, Fang lined up with all the other boys in the palace courtyard. Each one, except himself, carried a pot with a green plant in it. Some were leafier than others, and some had even outgrown their pots. The emperor walked up and down the lines and dutifully inspected every boy's plant, nodding his head and muttering to himself. Finally, he halted in front of Fang and addressed him. "This pot is exactly the same as when I gave it to you," said the emperor. Fang bowed his head and then looked up at the emperor. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty," he said. "I did everything I could to make it grow, but I could not even get the seed to sprout." "Of course you couldn't," said the emperor. "No amount of water or sunshine would coax any of these seeds to sprout." "But everyone else has grown wonderful plants," said Fang. "Except me. I am not worthy." The emperor laughed and patted Fang on the shoulder. "But you're worthy, Fang," said the emperor. "For you were the only boy to obey my instructions faithfully and honestly." "What do you mean?" asked Fang. "Every single seed I had planted in the pots was a boiled seed, so none of them should have sprouted. And yet, every boy here but yourself has presented a pot with a thriving plant. They have all been dishonest by planting other plants in their pots. Except you. So it came to pass that Fang was chosen to be the next emperor of China. Not because he was the best gardener, although he was a very good one, but because he was honest. The name of the story is The Boiled Seed. You were listening to To Suno by Sneha.